me, just watch.
We're back on the Morning Brew with friends, and we're talking David Bowie here, trying to get our David Bowie trivia right. But you grew up with changes. I grew up with some of the stuff from the 80s from him. It was so great, and there's such an impact that guy had, right?
I just can't believe that transformation. He was constantly reinventing himself to make something else, some other statement that was powerful and profound of that moment.
And you're an interesting guy to have on the show today for this, because you are the curator of art at the Albuquerque Museum of Art and History. And there aren't many artists that can do that and stay on the cutting edge. How hard is that for an artist to actually look at their life and say, all right, I'm going to do something different, I'm going to do something, and keep reinventing themselves like that, not just in music, but in visual arts and other things? Do you come across people who can do that?
Well, in particular with visual artists, you know, if an artist gets a successful style, their galleries, their dealers, their clientele want them to stick with that style, right, because that's what they're known for. So artists that are trying to invent and come up with new ideas often are rejected with their new ideas. You get an artist like Picasso who is constantly reinventing himself, but most artists can't do that.
Right,
You know, they can't come up with a new style. This exhibition that we've got here at the Albuquerque Museum opened last weekend and is on view until April 17th, focuses on sort of non-traditional or unexpected works of art from Latin America that include hair braiding, you know, African, Afro-Latino,
right,
exactly, Afro-Latino hair braiding.
That in your hair? It's beautiful.
Well, it's incredible. These artists that really do hair sculpture. In this case, an artist has documented the hair braiders of Colombia. And, you know, when we think of Afro-Latino populations, we don't necessarily think of Colombia. Lucia Cuba is very interested in fashion, making statements about Peruvian politics. And so this is a photograph of clothing that she fabricated, and it's printed with words, words that reflect on politics and images that reflect on politics. Here you can see the skirt, this beautifully tailored dress, and the skirt all is covered with words that basically hit home hard. So a lot of the artists are collaborating with communities, dealing with the nature of their place, and responding to violence, you know, whether they're chairs that are shot through with what look like bullet holes.
We do have that there, yeah.
Exactly. So this exhibition...
So did this mean, you were telling me earlier when we were talking, you were talking about more about how it's designed.
Yeah, exactly.
And how does design become, where does it transition from being design to political art? Where does it transition from being something that you, like a chair that's nice, and where does it go from that to something that says something about the world?
Well, most of the works of art in this exhibition do have some sort of social commentary, and sometimes the social commentary is simply like, we waste a lot of our resources, therefore we should recycle. You know, we should use our resources that we would throw away to make chandeliers. There's a beautiful chandelier out of plastic soda bottles. This one, right there, that's made out of plastic soda bottles.
We couldn't tell what those were from the little photo on the screen in the back here. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so when you look at it really closely, you recognize all of those details, all of the parts of plastic bottles.
Where is that hanging in the museum?
Well, it's hanging in our big gallery in the North Gallery, and our exhibition designer, Tom Antresian, built a sort of false ceiling to hang some of the light fixtures from in the gallery. Cool. This is a light fixture that's in the shape of a saguaro cactus, and each one of those light bulbs, those light fixtures, is a plastic soda bottle or a Heineken beer bottle that's been basically put on top of an LED light bulb to create those really abstract, stylized, but very contemporary light fixtures.
That's really cool.
The exhibition really pushes in a lot of different directions of recycling and reusing. This is a little robot doll that is made out of makeup containers that were excess makeup containers, but the artist is collaborating with a women's prison, and so she hires prisoners in the prison to actually help develop her designs, and then she gives them credit for as co-designers for her works.
So we were looking earlier at the embroidery stuff, and the embroidery we thought was really beautiful.
Oh, this is spectacular.
There it is.
Exactly. Giaccone and Ciccone, two
That's
designers.
actually, if you look up close on these, you can tell tell that that's actually stitching. It's
Oh,
unbelievable.
there must be a million stitches in that. This is a photograph that is made out of trash by trash pickers in Brazil, and the artist Vic Muniz has worked with the trash pickers to recreate famous European paintings. So here, the French revolutionary Marat is played by Sebastião, who's one of the pickers, the trash pickers, and he was a union organizer. So he got these trash pickers, these recyclers, unionized. So now they've got health care, they've got retirement benefits, and here he is in based on a photograph of a French revolutionary painting, and it's all made out of trash picked from the dump.
So how did you guys come to this show? I don't know if this is a traveling show, if this is one you guys put together. Or...
It's a traveling show, and it comes from the Museum of Arts and Design in New York City. And the curator, Lowry Stokes Sims, is a great friend of a terrific painter here in New Mexico named Jean Quick-to-See Smith. And I met her at a party, and I asked Lowry what she was working on, and she said she was developing this major survey of Latin American contemporary design. And I said, any way we could get it to New Mexico? And she said, let's work on it.
That's cool. How long did it take between that conversation and getting the show here?
I think that was about 3 years ago,
Okay.
where we first started talking about it. But the exhibition just has so many interesting objects in it that really make us think about the nature of creativity and the way that Latin America is in so many ways on the cutting edge of design. Here in Albuquerque, we've got an incredibly powerful design community. So those connections between Latin America and Albuquerque, I hope many people will make.
They're even beyond language and they're beyond culture. They're now moving into art and culture.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of the artists were born in Latin America and live in other places. They were born in other places and they've settled in Latin America. So it's an incredibly cosmopolitan exhibition that also is rooted very much in indigenous tradition, folk art traditions. There are basket weavers from Mexico represented, weavers, traditional Native American weavers from Peru that are represented. This is a light fixture that's made out of the plastic that's left over when sequins are cut out of it. So all of those little circles represent where a sequin was cut out of the iridescent plastic.
Oh, wow.
And it's just spectacular to walk around an
cool.
object like that and experience it in real space.
That's really cool. Well, the exhibit's up through April 17th.
April 17th.
At the Albuquerque Museum in the big gallery.
Yep, exactly.
And what else do you have showing right now?
Right now we have a beautiful exhibition focusing on Higinio Gonzalez, who was known for many years as a tinsmith, but never with a name. And so Maurice Dixon, a scholar from Santa Fe, put together the name and this tradition of tinsmithing. But he was also a Civil War veteran, he was a poet, he was a musician, and he was a school teacher. So a great story of a New Mexican Hispanic gentleman that was a man of the world and created an art form that's really important. Real Renaissance man. Perfect term for him.
That's very cool. We'll be back in a couple of seconds. We have Lisa Atkins with us, and she's going to tell us all about what's going on at Fat Pipe and some of the new education initiatives she's got. We've also got performances coming up, and I think more David Bowie music all morning on the Morning Brew with Friends.
It's gonna have to be a